Wesley.
Karina.
Ryan. Audrey. Hunter.
Ellie.
Oliver. 8.
9.
7. 6.
6. She was 39 the other day.
40.
33.
No, I think she's 33.
30. 33. 5. She works as a nurse.
She goes to a daycare.
I forgot.
To nurse. Doing stuff to earn money.
Sometimes phone calls. I don't know what else though.
She takes care of babies.
Give them shops and medicine. She helps people. She just stay at the house. Well, she used to do. This is actually Sergi of the cater.
She keeps an eye on the kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because she takes so much care for us, and she works very hard for us.
Because she loves me, that's the same. Because I like her food that she makes, and she takes care of me a lot. I haven't told her that question. Because she's the best mommy in the world.
Because I like it when she gives me circles and tickles me.
You're the best mom in the world.
And sometimes when I have ticks, and my mom uses the plastic tweezers, and every time she puts cream on it, she just tries to pull it off. But I tell her, hey, can you use the black stuff? And then every time she gets it off, she just puts it on the napkin. I got 3 ticks.
I would be like crazy, like very crazy. And also to mommy,
oh, let's go to the store. If we still gotta leave, I take my shoes off, then we gotta leave again. She says, hey, keep your shoes on. We gotta go here soon. I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I would say to her, I love you.
Who's excited to be in church today? Hey, I just want to take 1 second. Thank you. I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, that just made me great. Happy Mother's Day to me. I just want to take 1 second and look in the camera and welcome everybody joining us behind screens across the world. Five Stones, can we give them that great of a good morning and a happy Mother's Day? If I haven't met you yet, my name is Debra. I have the incredible honor of leading this church with Pastor Tom, and I am blessed to bring the message here because it is Mother's Day today. We are in the middle of a series called Level Up, where we go from just believing in Jesus to being a disciple of Jesus. And some of you may be thinking, isn't that the same thing? But no, it is actually not. Being a disciple of Jesus is actually wanting to be more like Jesus. Now, in the first week, we talked about that being a disciple of Jesus is being passionately committed to Jesus. And I think that's something that Christians need to have more of, is a little bit more passion in their lives. And then last week, Pastor Tom brought us a message about having an extraordinary love for people. And PT called it the next level love, right? And then Jesus actually said that you would know that we are a disciple by the way that we love the least, the lost, and our enemies. And then that one kind of was like, ugh, because it's a little hard to love your enemies sometimes, right? And then today in our next step, our third step of being a disciple, we're going to talk about having a servant's heart. And I know everybody just said, yes, I get to talk about being a servant, because everybody loves being a servant, right? No, being a servant does not come naturally to us. It's not something that's in our nature to want to be a servant, because nobody likes being an NPC, right? In the gaming world, you have your main characters and then you have your NPCs. Everybody's like, well, how does she know this? My son explained this to me, right? So your NPCs are your non-playable characters. Those are characters that the computer plays. So it's like your shopkeepers or your pedestrians, you know, like you see them walking across the street and sometimes they're like running into the wall, or your shopkeeper's like, here's your turkey leg. When you get to the end of the street, make a left. Like, they're valuable, they're important in the game, but they, because they help support the main character, but they are not the main character. Now, I want to be extremely clear with this. The Lord does not look at you as an NPC, but you are definitely not the main character. And that doesn't sit well with us because we want to be the main character. We want to be the one that's served, and we feel like that we're the main character because, like, we know everything that's going on with us. We know what we're doing. I mean, imagine how Luigi felt when he found out that his world was called Mario, right? But we do. We want to be the main character because we want to be the ones that are served. I mean, it's like that we're children all of the time. If you're a mom and you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They are not born serving. They're extremely selfish. I mean, they're very cute, yes, and they're probably in kids' church right now making us little cards, or they've brought us flowers that they probably got from the neighbor's yard. I am sorry about that. But they're very selfish, right? I think that's the reason why God gave us children, so that he could remind us of what we were like when we were little. Because that's who we are all the time, and that is what we do. I mean, Jesus even had to deal with this with his disciples. They acted like children a lot, and he had to interact with them like he was a father a lot. I mean, oftentimes he even called them his children. And one time you'll find this where he was talking about how his time here on earth was coming to an end, and he was trying to tell them, hey, this is what's going to happen, and this is what you're going to have to do. You'll find it in Mark 10. It says, they were on their way up to Jerusalem with Jesus leading the way, and the disciples were astonished, while others that followed were afraid. Again, he took the 12 aside, and he told them what was going to happen to him. We are going up to Jerusalem, he said, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and the teachers of the law, and they will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles, who will mock him and spit on him and flog him and kill him. 3 days later, he will arise. Now, I want you to notice something, right? How quickly the Bible says. It says, then. Not like the disciples were like, what? They're going to do, are you for what? Is there anything No, it says, then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. What? Like, are you for real? I mean, parents, I'm sure you can relate to this. Like, you have just imparted this amazing wisdom to your children. Okay, you're like, if you could get this later in life, it's going to help you. Or you've told them, hey, kids, something really big is going to come up. I don't want you to be caught unawares about it, but this is what's happening. Or teachers, maybe you can relate to this. Like, you've just told your class, hey, this big test is coming up. I'm going to give you all of the answers that you're going to need to know. Okay, they're all written here. I've given them all to you. If you could just get this inside of you, you will pass this test. And you look at them, and their eyes are glazed over, and they immediately shoot their hand up as soon as you stop speaking, and you're like, and so in verse 36, he says, what do you want me to do for you? Now, maybe this is a little bit of me. Maybe this is a little Debra reading into this, but I feel like there was a little bit of sass in that, and it's like, what do you want? And then they replied, let one of us sit to your right and the other one sit to your left in glory. So in other words, they're like, hey, Jesus, I'm sorry, you're going to die and all that other stuff is going to happen to you, but can we be famous? Right? Right, that's what they said. But get this, watch this, it gets better. So in 41, then the 10 heard about this, and they became indignant with James and John. I thought, okay, we're going to redeem ourselves here, right? We're going to redeem, because they're going to be mad at James and John because they were selfish. But they weren't. They weren't. They were mad because they didn't get their glory. They didn't get their seat. I mean, this is the disciples. If this is the disciples who walked with Jesus, we're toast. So Jesus was like, okay, fam. Let's have a moment. Come in. So in verse 42, Jesus called them together and said, you know what? You know those who were regarded as rulers of the Gentiles, and they lorded over them. And then their high officials who exercised authority over them. And then I'm sure the disciples were like, yes, we know exactly what you're talking about, Jesus, because we've lived in this culture for so long, and that's been our lives. And we know that the guys at the top get the stuff, and they have people below them, and they have people below them. And so they serve them, and then they serve them, and then they serve them. And the guys at the top, they get it all, and they get the best, and they get it first, right? That's the kind of life we're about, Jesus. That's what we want, Jesus. And then very profoundly, Jesus says in verse 43, not so with you. Now, maybe you've seen your kids do this, right? Maybe they've seen something on TV, or they got these friends that act, in a kind of way. You know what I'm talking about, right? And they say, hey, I want that. Or you see them having tendencies that you didn't put inside of them, and you got to jerk them, pull them nicely aside, and you say, hey, we're not going to do that. This family isn't about that. Now, my son TJ, he's reached a certain time in his life where he's a certain age now, and I don't know if it's like a rite of passage where you can start making fun of your parents and they can't do anything or say anything to you anymore, but I think he's at that age now, and I don't know if it's because it's Mother's Day and it's his gift to me, but he has especially been picking on me lately. But he's been making fun of me about when he was younger, and he would play like Fortnite or these video games where you can talk to other people that aren't in your house, like across the games. And so he says that I sound like this, but I promise I do not. But he said that I would come in and I would say, who are you talking to? Who is this on this? Who's on here? Do you know them? Do you know who they are? And he'd be like, Mom, they're just kids. Do you know that they are kids? How do you know they're not grown adults? He would say, Mom, I know that. I would be like, do you go to school with them? If not, get off the game and take the garbage out. He'd be like, Mom. And then so he would come up to me later and he would say, hey, Mom, they got these headsets that you can buy, and they got like the microphone, and so you don't have to hear me. It doesn't have to bother you anymore. Then you don't have to hear. I'd say, oh, not in this house. Because if something's being said, I want to hear it, and I want to know who you're talking to. And he would say, but Mom, so-and-so has this, and so-and-so's, and I said, not in this house. And then he would say, well, what about this game? I got this game that I can download. And I said, I heard about that game too. But, not in this house. And so I think that's what's happening right here with Jesus. I think that's what Jesus is trying to say, is that that's not how our family is going to operate. Not so with you. And what he's saying here is he's saying, hey guys, here's the deal. Here's what's going to happen. I'm about to die. And then I'm going to be resurrected, and then I'm going to ascend into heaven, and then it's just going to be you guys here. And don't forget how I lived. Because, Peter, there's going to come a day when you're going to preach, you're going to stand up, and then you're going to preach, and thousands are going to get saved. And the church is going to blow up, and you're going to be walking down the street, and your shadow is going to heal people. And you're gonna be looking so famous in the eyes of other people, but don't let it go to your head. Don't lord it over other people. Not so with you. Jesus says, hey, remember moments like this. Remember moments where I washed your feet. Remember moments where I was serving you. Because that's not how this family operates. Not so with you. Something so simply profound that I think so many churches have missed. You know, you walk into some places and they got like these big thrones on the stage where like the important people sit, you know, or you walk in, they got like a reserved parking up front for the important people, you know, and why? You know, you got people walking around like they're great, like they're somebody important. They want to hold it over everybody else. It's not like that, right? I think that honor is important. I think you should have honor for people who work hard and who are in authority, but I don't think it should be like that. I mean, like, I don't know how long you've been here at Five Sons, but you'll notice we don't have thrones up here. I mean, plus it'd be too much to set up and tear down every Sunday. I'm not about that. But we don't have reserved parking places either. We want to save that for people who are new. I mean, if you're a pastor or you're a leader here, we park in the back. Like, we park in the back over there, right? And why? Why? Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as ransom for many. I want you to notice something here, because I think sometimes it gets twisted up. Jesus never said that it's wrong to want to be great. Did you see that in there? He says, whoever wants to be great. In other words, that's fine. You should want to be great. I want to be great, but I want to be great in the eyes of heaven. Because what happens here is Jesus redefines what it means to be great. He redefines the path to greatness. He says, hey, James, hey, John, you want to sit at my right? You want to sit at my left? Fantastic. You want to be awesome? You want to be great? Then you got to be a slave to everybody. And I'm sure they were like, Jesus, I don't know if you know that or not, but around here, down here, if you're great, if you're a leader, if you're awesome, then everybody serves you. Everybody does for you, right? And Jesus is like, no, that's not how this family operates. Listen, if being a disciple were easy, everybody would do it. You could not fit enough chairs in this auditorium. You couldn't keep them out of those doors. If being a disciple were easy, everybody would want to do it. Jesus flips culture on his head. He says, if you want to be great, you got to be least. The way to get high is you got to go low. If you want everybody to look up to you, you got to be everybody's servant. You want to be a leader? You got to be the greatest servant. He says to level up, you got to go from a believer to a disciple. You got to be transformed from being selfish to being a servant. And you got to remember, it's not about you. The real test to know if you have a servant's heart is by the way you respond when they treat you like one. I'm going to say it again. The way that you know you have a servant's heart is the way you respond when they treat you like one. That's how I know I'm getting the DNA of Jesus inside of me. In Philippians, it says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset of Christ Jesus, who being in the very nature God did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in appearance as man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Therefore, God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name that is above every name. That's how this works. That's how you want to be great in the kingdom of God. You got to lose it all. If you want to be great, you got to be least. And that's not in our human nature, right? It kind of rubs us the wrong way. We kind of rail against it, right? That's why we have to go to Jesus. That's why we got to get the heart of Jesus inside of us. And that's how you develop the heart of a servant. And so then it comes time for the tough question. I know you're like, what? This gets harder? I'm just now picking my teeth back up off the ground. Don't worry, PT will be back next Sunday. He's got the jokes. He'll make you laugh. He's got the funny stories. But right now, I got 3 points for you on how to develop a servant's heart. So if you have your notes, you can pull them out. We have it on the app if you're more like digital and you want to type it in. So you can go ahead and pull that out now. So our first point is you got to serve your family. If you want to develop a servant's heart, the first thing you got to do is serve the family that you live with. There once was a woman named Indre Nui, and she was born into a culture that really oppressed women and didn't want to see them develop to their fullest. She lived in India, and her mother knew this, and so what she would do is she would have Indre and her sister write these speeches like they were running for a political office, like president or prime minister or some kind of world leader, right? And so she would have them write these speeches, and then she would have them say them to her, and she would vote on who she thought was best. And so she would tell them, okay, you won this time, and so she would have them sign this paper, and they were that world leader for the day. So Indre grew up knowing that she could and would do something important one day. And so she worked, and she did. She ended up being the president of the Pepsi Company for like 12 years. She had an amazing 12 years at Pepsi Company. But the day that she got voted in as president, her mom was visiting from India. And so she was so excited to get home to tell her mom. She was like, yes, I can go tell Mom. Look what happened. So she walks in the door, and she's like, hey, Mom, I've got this great news. And her mom's like, hold on. Before you do that, we need milk, okay? And she's like, but Ma, I got this great news. Why don't you tell Raj, who's her husband? And she said, because I'm not Raj's mom. I'm your mom, and besides, he looks tired. And she's like, I get it. And she's like, go get the milk, and then you can tell me. And so Andre's like, fine. I'll go get the milk. I'm president. I'm fine. I'm going to go get milk. So she goes get the milk, and she's come back, and she's like, guess what, Ma? I had this great news, and I was going to tell you, but no, I had to go get the milk. Guess what? I was president of the Pepsi company. And her mom said, hold on. Just hold on 1 minute. And as she's telling this story, she's telling it because of the way that it redefined who she was and how she looked at things. And her mom says, now hold on just a minute. Before you tell me this, she said, I want you to know that when you come into this house, you are the only one that's here is who you are. No one can replace you when you come in here. When you come in here, you are a wife, a mother, and a daughter. And your husband, when he comes in here, he's a father, a husband, and a son. Nobody else in this house can be that. So when you get here, you leave your crown in the garage. I was like, oh. I thought, oh, okay. I think everybody needs to remember that. When you're in your house, there is only you. You can only fill those roles in your house. No one else can replace that. So when you get home, you need to leave your title, your position, the letters after your name. Leave it at the door. Leave it at the garage. Because the greatest servant in your home is whoever is serving the most. So moms, you can't give your best out there and leave nothing for those that are most important in your life. Dads, steward your time and your energy well so that you have some when you get back home. Brothers and sisters, don't give up all of your kindness and patience to your friends at school and have none left for your siblings when you get home. You have to serve your families. Your families don't deserve your second best. They deserve your best. If anything, work deserves your second best because work is not always going to be there, but your family will. So give your families your best. Life is not about being served. It's about serving. And maybe you're single, or maybe you have like you live with your parents, or you have like a roommate. Love them. Serve them. I know they're gross. I know you don't want to. I know they're messy. I mean, how hard is it to pick up socks and just put them in the laundry basket? Just do it, though. Just do it. I mean, what would happen if you actually served them? What would happen if you actually cleaned up their dishes, or you put the socks in there for them instead of yelling at them or making a snide little comment as you walk by, right? What would happen? What kind of breakthrough would happen in your house if you just did it? Because remember, it's not about us. We aren't the main character. I mean, here's a crazy idea. Matthew 7:12. Use it as a rule of thumb. Would you do something for someone that you would want done for you? Just do it. Don't ask them about it. Just go do it. What would happen in our homes, instead of having selfish competitions, we had serving competitions. Right? I mean, that could actually happen. What would happen if our kids served each other? I mean, what's impossible for man could be possible with God. I mean, imagine and then examine your motives while you're doing this. And if you have in the past, I mean, examine your motives. Mamas, we give, right? We give, and we give, and we do, and we do, and we're exhausted at the end of the night. Are we doing this because we want our friends to think that we do a lot? Are we doing this because we love our kids and we put them first? Or are we doing it because we want to use mom guilt later? Examine your heart. We should do it without motive. Are we doing that chore for them so we can later say, hey, I did this for you, so you better do this for me? Do it without any motive. It's not about you. I'm going to challenge you. What would happen for the rest of this month? We got 10, 20 days, something like that. If you just said in your home, all we're going to do is serve each other. Without being asked, no ulterior motives. We're just going to find something that I would want somebody to do for me, and I'm just going to do it for them. What would happen? Maybe you're like, well, I live by myself. I don't have anybody to serve. Yes, you do. What if your family lives near you, or, maybe they live out of state, but you really would want them to call you and just check on you? Call them. Or you're like, hey, I really wish they would just send me a surprise. Send them one. See what would happen. over the next 20 days in your home, find out what would happen if you just did this. I think that you would be joyfully surprised. Okay? So number 2, you got to serve your community. So, we do a lot of outreaches out here, and one of them that we've started doing that we always have fun with is we do the reverse car wash, right? And so that's where we have the kids that hold the sign, or we have people hold a sign that says, hey, car wash, $2, and then they come through, and at the end we're like, hey, actually, you get the $2, and they're like, oh, that's great. As most people know that when they see like the people holding car washes sign, they know most times people know that that's like a church because they're raising money for missions, or maybe like the youth is trying to raise money for something. But evidently not everybody realizes that that's for a church. And some people think, oh, I'm going to do that. That's cheaper than going over here to Zippy. So that happened with this one person. He came in, he had this big truck, and he came in to get this car wash, and he had people in front of him and people behind him, so he couldn't really get out of line once he was in line. And we had our red serve shirts on, and he's in line, and he's looking, and he sees the serve shirt, and I think probably what happened is somebody turned around and he saw that it said Five Stones Church on the back of it. And so he looked at Brandy, little tiny Brandy, servant who's over our outreach department, and he said, excuse me, ma'am, what is this exactly? And she said, oh, it's Five Stones Church, we're doing car washes. And he said, it's church? And she said, yeah. And he said, I am real sorry, because on the back of his truck were some stickers that maybe weren't quite appropriate for a church car wash. But it's okay, because we had already told the children to move on up to the car that was in front of him, and his face matched our shirts at this point, and he was kind of sweating a little bit, but that is okay. Nobody said anything. We just we washed them stickers real good too, we sprayed it off and washed it, and he's just like, I'm so sorry. We're like, no, Jesus loves you, because that's what we do, is we're serving the community. The community is the world. We can't get mad at the world for acting like the world. All we can do is say, hey, Jesus loves you, and we do. And I think that, he was probably a little bit more even like, when he said, here's the $2, and we said, no, sir, here's your $2. And so I would like to think that maybe he went home and got his X-Acto knife and scratched those off. I mean, it's one person at a time, right? So I like to say this. We love God by serving the people that he loves, right? I mean, have you ever wondered how you can serve God? I mean, how do you serve the guy who's got everything? Is you serve the ones that he loves. And we said that last week. Whenever you do one for the least of these, you're doing it for him. I mean, leveling up starts by serving the ones that he loves. You serve the people, and you serve the world around you. Learn to start giving your life away. I know it doesn't come naturally, because we think, well, I'm busy. I got this, and this, and this. Well, I can't do this. I got this game. I got this event. I got this on my calendar. I got this. I ain't got time to level up because I'm busy. I can't serve. You guys serve. I mean, sometimes I don't want to serve these people. I wake up and think, I don't even like them very much. And that's when you say, Lord, I need your heart, because my wicked heart is not good. I need you. I need you to, I want to be a believer. I don't want to be a believer. I want to be a disciple. I don't want just the head knowledge. I want it in me, right? So in the book of John, Jesus takes off his robe, and he picks up a towel and he ties it around his waist, and he bends down and he washes the gross feet of the disciple. And then he says this, listen, in John he says, now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. Now, how many of you have heard this story of washing of the feet? It's all nice and warm, right? It gives you the tinglies. Think about Jesus getting down and doing that. But if you listen, it doesn't say that you're blessed if you hear it. It says you're blessed if you do it. We got to stop being people that just hear about things that happen. We sit here and say, oh, I know they're doing this, and they're doing that, and we got to start doing these things, right? We got to start going out and doing it. Are you a boss? Do you own a company? Are you a boss? Start serving the people that are under you. Take your culture and flip it on its head. Start serving. Everybody wants to serve the boss because you can change things for them. Start serving them, right? You remember those bracelets, those WWJD bracelets? It was a great initiative. I loved them. I really like them because my son Joe, when he was little bitty, he really liked these bracelets, and he would have them from here to here. He'd walk around like this, look, Mom. And he had them everywhere. I was like, that's so great. But it was great, right? And they were really good. But I think instead of WWJD, we should have the DWJD, do what Jesus did. I mean, we got a whole book to remind us what Jesus would do. What we need to do is do what Jesus did, right? We need to get out in our community and serve. I mean, I know most of you probably know about these hamburger outreaches that we would do. We started doing these. We do them right there at the Food City. And we've been doing them since before that we even launched. Because when we got here, we were like, how can we bless the community? Because we are a community-driven church. And we were like, how can we bless the community and also let them know that we're here? And so we were like, okay, let's do this. We talked to somebody who was local here, and they were like, I don't know if you really want to do that, because a lot of people here, they're used to people giving out, churches giving out free food. I don't know how well it'll go. We were like, oh, okay, we're going to do it anyway. And so we did. And so we set up the grill, we set up the tents, and I remember the first time that we did it, people were coming through, and then there was a man who was walking like near where we were, and he had recently lost his home, and we were like, hey, do you want some lunch? And he was like, I don't have any money. We said, no, we don't want money, we just want to give you a free burger. And he's like, really? We said, yeah. I thought, everybody's used to us giving away food. But anyway, and so I was like, yeah, here you go, here's the burger, and can we pray for you? And he was surprised that we gave him free food, but he was even more surprised that we stopped and we talked to him. And we wanted to know what he was going through, what he was doing. And not just like, hey, here's a generic prayer for you, but like, how can we specifically pray for you right now? And then I'll never forget when we were having this go on, there's a lady that came through, and she had just been diagnosed with cancer. And everybody in her car was tore up about it. And we said, we're going to pray. And we prayed, and then when she opened her eyes, the hope of Jesus was in her eyes. She came broken and left with some hope. And I've seen it, people have been coming, and they come for burgers, and they leave with prayer. And then people in this community have started to learn that when they see that grill go and those tents come up, they know that prayer is about to happen over there. So they go get their loved one who's going through a hard time or who've been just diagnosed with something, and they say, hey, come on, we're going over here and we're getting prayer. And so people have stopped coming for burgers and getting prayer, and they've started coming for prayer and leaving with free burgers. What's even better than that? The shift that's even better than that I have seen has been with our dream team. The shift with that has been, when we first started, people would come up and they'd be like, hey, will you go with me to pray for this car? And I'm like, yeah. And so we'll get up to the car, and they look at me like, hey, are you going to pray? And so I'm like, okay. And so I pray with them. And then the next time around, they're like, hey, will you go? And I'm like, yeah. And so we get to the car, and I look at them. I'm like, you're going to do it now. And so then they pray. And then the next time around, I look up, and they're at the car, and they're bringing it down, and they're praying, and they're praying. And then the next time I look up, their kid is standing next to them, watching them pray over this car. That is a generation change is what that is. My kids used to always ask us, why do we got to go to First Saturday serve? I just want to sleep. And then they would be like, why do we have to get up for Sunday? It's so early. Can't we just stay in, you guys? I mean, come on. We always have to go. And we say yes. And we were so excited when they would ask us, why do we have to serve? Especially PT, because he likes to give long lectures and talks. And so he was like, yes, it's his favorite thing to do. But they would ask us this, and I was so glad that they would ask us, because we'd be able to tell them, you know why we do this? Because there are people out there that don't know Jesus. There are people out there that have the wrong idea of who Jesus is. And this gives us the opportunity to show them who Jesus is, to tell them about who Jesus is. And then on Sunday, we get up on Sunday, and we want to get here, and we want to make it excellent, because we want you to have a great experience here, and we want you to have an experience with Jesus, so that you can say, hey, my friend who doesn't know who Jesus is, I want to invite them here. I'm not going to be embarrassed to invite them here, because I know this is going to be good, and I know what to expect, and so I'm going to bring them. We tell them that's why we do what we do. That is the heart that I want to get into my children. So number 3 is you got to serve the church. Paul says that the body is a unit. He says the eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. And the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. In Corinthians, he goes further into this. But, you know, if one part of the body suffers, then every part suffers with it. I've never had somebody say, you know, oh, I've got this terrible headache, but my back feels good. I'm going to dance a jig, right? Because if one part hurts, the other part hurts. They all work together. The body meant to work with just one part working and the other not, because it's all built together. Like if your foot is hurting but your ears feel really good, you're not going anywhere. That's the fun thing about it, is that Christ talks about this body working like the body here. So it's fun to think, like, what part of the body might you be? Like, are you the ears? Are you the mouth? Like, do you hear really well? Are you the spine? Do you have a lot of courage? Are you the hands, the heart, or the feet? Are you the feet of Christ maybe? Like an organism is what we call when the body works together. But we call something else that lives off the body, that takes nourishment from the body, but doesn't ever give back to the body. It's called a parasite. And nobody wants to be a parasite, right? Paul says there's no part of the body that's useless. Every part that's on there is needed. You have a part in you that's needed. If you're not using it, something's wrong. When people with the gifts of helping aren't helping, and the gifts of encouragement aren't encouraging, and shepherds aren't shepherding, and prayers aren't praying, and singers aren't singing, and greeters aren't greeting, and the people with hospitalities, gifts of hospitality aren't hospitaliting, the church isn't working. It's not working like it should. You have a gift inside of you. God has given each and every one of you a gift. It says in 1 Peter, God has given each of you a gift from his great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another. Do you have a gift of speaking? Then speak as though God himself were speaking through you. Do you have a gift of helping others? Do it with all the strength and energy that God supplies. Then everything you do will bring glory to God through Jesus Christ. You have a gift. And when you use it to serve rather than getting a paycheck, that's when Jesus gets the glory. Absolutely, use your gift, use your talent, use your abilities for work. That's a sweet spot. That's when you know you're in where you're supposed to be. But when you use your gift that God gave you and how God made you to serve someone else, that's a whole nother level. That's the level up, right? Boop, 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 boop. Some of you may be thinking, I don't know where I fit. I didn't know. I'm sitting here. Nobody's asked me to serve. Nobody asked me to use my gift. I didn't know you needed it. This is me asking you. We need you. The church needs you. Come and help us. Your lost neighbor needs you. Your annoying coworker needs you. The bully at school needs you. There are some things that people walk into churches, and I have a critical eye. I know some of you are like, no, I do. There's sometimes people walk into churches, and they're like, oh my gosh, this church is terrible at this thing. There's some of you that walk in Five Stones, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're terrible at this thing. Thank you for noticing. Yes, we know. You know why you're seeing it? Probably because you're very good at that thing. And here's the thing. You have a decision that you can make. You can walk in and you can look at it as a critic or a servant, okay? Because both critics and servants see the same thing, but their reaction to it is very different. A critic walks in and says, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're still doing this terrible thing and it hasn't been fixed yet. Where a servant walks in and they see it and they say, I think I might be here for that thing. And you're thinking, well, I don't know where I can serve. I don't know what gifts and talents are inside of me. Guess what? Today is Next Steps. And in Next Steps, we're telling you what gifts and talents you have. You should be thankful for that. And we'll feed you lunch. We'll take care of your kids. Stay 45 minutes. It's not that long. Mom will understand. She'll be glad that you're learning about your gifts and talents. So just stay after. Find out what your gifts and talents are. Because I believe that God has a desire for us, for you, to make this your home. I mean, maybe you're here week after week. Don't be a visitor. Don't be a guest. Be an owner. And whether you're here just for a few months or a few weeks or you're here for the rest of your life, you'll be able to look back on your time at Five Stones and you'll say, man, I was part of something significant. I gave, I served, and I became a beloved disciple of Jesus. I saw things change. I saw people change. I changed myself. I was a person who served in the family that I lived in. May we be people that serve in the community that we live in. And may we be people who serve the church that we committed to and become a disciple of Jesus who told the world how wonderful he is.